Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Brandon.
And Carrie.
Today we're going to talk about a couple of the videos have all kind of tied together these last several, and being aware and awake to what's happening and how we're being attacked through different means, be it Dream Time or MK Ultra, or being just led astray by a variety of ways. And we've talked in some previous videos about the assault on awareness, or things like the three body problem, kind of what to do in the afterlife or what to expect. As well as maintaining your level of awareness and dare to be aware. But I wanted to kind of start the conversation with Carrie today about, well, okay, we're awake, we're aware. Now what? Do we self delete since we think we got all the answers? That'd be ego, right? That's not the way to go. So we want to talk about a few different things as options and kind of tie all this together and know that the beginning of this, we'll call it a fight for yourself and your higher self, is beginning when you become awakened or are on the awakening journey.
I think that's true. I'd never heard the term self deletion before, but as I'm reviewing that in my mind, I hear many people doing that all the time to kill off the ego and to delete all these things here. Those are necessary to function in their system. That's part of that system. The key is going to be in what are you letting rule your life, your choices, your decision, your way of thinking. When you review things in your world, through what lens are you reviewing that? Are you doing it as a victim, or are you doing it as a victor? Not that you have already defeated it, but again, I'm going to go back to flipping the script. And what I mean by that is turning it around to where it's not something being done to you any longer, but that you're able to see this as their last ditch efforts to try to keep you entrenched in their system so that you don't wake up and you don't desire to go home and you don't stand in your own power. And so look at these things that occur, even if we're doing our own uh, review of our life as we are now, not their version after you kick the bucket, and go through that, but review your own life and pick out those patterns, the salient points, which is just the patterns that prevail throughout the course of the years of one's life. And we start to see, or I know I start to see different things that I would look at now probably as a spiritual attack or physical attacks and things, and realizing that those people that physically attacked were doing so at the instruction, be it for them was subconsciously, but being directed in that program to do exactly what they did to me. And so I'm certain that this happens to other people, but when we realize it, the person is just the carrier of that spiritual um, oh, darkness, maybe, or effort, perhaps, to uh, retain. Everything is about retention, devouring, and retention. And so when we start looking at it as so much an attack and being the victim, and we start to look at it as unique ways we can gain insights as to our own progress in our own awakening. And so, awakening now what? One of those things is to flip the script and to start to look at those events in lines of uh, ways that we can gain progress, or we can look at our progress and kind of get a better sense of our own direction, and then be able to utilize our own ability then at free choice to decide to go back into that or continue forward, uh, in enabling ourselves, I guess, to stand in our own power.
Transcending their system, their script that they had kept you on for so long.
Absolutely.
the I bring up self deletion because there's, at least in some of the people that I've followed, they've mentioned the S word is it's the highest it's ever been, especially with like white males, middle aged, that they are getting to a point because of this great awakening that they don't want to be a part of it, so they're just leaving the quote unquote game or the place of which we reside in this realm right now. So that's and then it gets into the idea of the ego, which is it's not there's good ego and there's bad ego. Remember, we're in duality, so you can have some residual ego that will let you step up and stand up for yourself. But the ego that says I'm in lack or that I'm a victim in this victim savior duality, that's a completely different type of ego. That's you giving away part of yourself, which is further fragmenting not only your mind but your soul and your spirit too.
Yeah, I think I like how you kind of separated that out. I think it takes that ego, if you will, the appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
um, in order for us to be strong enough to stand in our own power.
I do too. It's
That
it's
has to
almost like
be, yeah.
it's like what you just said. It's like okay, we realize this is a um, controlled place and we're on scripts. Once we awaken to that script,
Hmm.
we can then say, okay, I see your playbook. I see what you want me to do.
Hmm.
But rather than let you control the reins, I'm going to take the baton or the reins and I'm going to play by your rules and I'm going to beat you at your own game.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And gosh, this is so important. Um, I like how you've said this about the ego, because I think that's where that part of the attack. Why ego is evil or bad, whatever you want to call it, or negative, I'll say, is because it's a false projection uh, of overconfidence in of one's self worth and self power. There's no humility. Um, who we are at the core is humble,
Mm-hmm.
and so everything that we are, they have turned it into weakness and
Mm-hmm.
capitalized on it,
It's like
literally.
the idea of titles, Lord this, Doctor that,
Mm-hmm.
nurse this. It's the same idea. Those are egos. Those are script made people that want to.
Well, they are. It's like I have a master's degree,
Mm-hmm.
and for a while I wanted that at the end of my name because I worked hard for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had countless people throw that up in my face. When you think you're, I've not done that at all, and um, it really it hurts my feelings that other people would think that, because it was something that was very important to me. I love to learn. I like to learn. Uh, Looking back, some of the things I learned, uh, I don't quite agree with at this point, but there were some valuable insights because it was during a time where it wasn't as quote unquote well programmed as what it is now towards the negative. And they really got stupid things after the year 2000. Everything really changed. Um, but I think that the ego may have been that part of us that allowed us to stand firm in our own isness, and that by removing that from our true holiness, they made us holy, full of holes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and attacked that, and then they regurgitated it and handed it back to us as this self-centered, self-protecting, um, at all cost, and always to the uh, diminution of another party. So it's always uh, the whole thing of Yaldabaoth, I am God and there is no one above me, nobody beside me, even though all these other dudes are sitting there calling themselves that, and the whole design of everything is that. And so his lack of awareness then turned all that into ego. Even
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he was formed in the first place was based on ego in the sense of lack, that uh, envy and jealousy and wanting things that the Sophia entity seemed to think that it didn't have. It wasn't for it to have those things. It was an intelligence. It wasn't a sun, that makes sense. Um, but I think that the big movement about losing the ego, I think it's losing the spirit of this world ego, the
Yes,
spirit of eros,
correct.
which is all about pulling things in, uh, and, and of self-feeding, feeding the self, and so it projects the self out as if it's all this and all
Look
that.
at me, I'm rich. I got all the
Yeah,
cars.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Or someone who demands to be, that's Doctor Bozo to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? You poo in the same toilet everybody else does, Hoss. You know,
Right, right.
and so the little defiant side of Carrie comes out real fast. So, um, yeah, wow, I think that the ego thing, you really hit on something right there. I'll have to put some more thought into that because I think there's a healthy ego
Correct.
that we've got to reawaken,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is imperative for standing in our own power,
Mm-hmm.
standing in our own true identity, and being able to rightfully divide and discern the spirit of this world from our true nature and character spirit of the isness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's going to be on that. I think we need the good type, the true ego, to be enable us to be strong enough to speak our truth, even if our voice is shaking.
Mm-hmm.
That we go ahead and speak that
Do it anyway.
that do it anyway. Exactly. I think it's important that we've got to discern and realize that this battle is not one of flesh and blood. It
No.
is with spirits and principalities and evil forces of wickedness in high places. So, whether that's on a governmental level, there are entities pushing them, infiltrating them. I envision like their hands immersed into their spine, tapped into
Mm-hmm.
uh, their chakra system,
Yeah.
and controlling them, uh, like little puppets, little hand puppets. I think once we realize that the flesh is in the spirit, and we stop coming under their spell of seeing all these things as attacks of them versus us, and things like that. It's of thank you for showing me where I'm still needing some more work,
Mm-hmm.
and or showing me that I'm drawn to these particular kinds of people, and that ain't good for me. So
Right.
therefore, I will change this and get out of their script entirely. Um, but get out from the spell uh, of the negative events, the negative dreams. Uh, Recognize those patterns and start to choose a different response, and then stand in who we really are. Imperative. And for that, it does require that egoic uh, self. So once we understand we have two souls, SOLES, uh, we have a spirit of this world and the spirit of the higher self world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that goes way beyond anything here. And I think that part of the task here is disconnecting or stopping feeding the spirit of this world that is selfish. It's self. Uh, it's always about feeding the self. Uh,
Self-promoting.
yeah, and imposing our will over someone else, whether it's through uh, governmental uh, intrusions or enforcers or education systems,
Mm-hmm.
their thoughts, thought control, mind control. Uh, I mean, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
ways that they have of doing that.
That's why they call it clown world. Some people out there joke that this is clown world. Well, it's like everybody's wearing a mask, right? So take off your mask. The old egoic self, the one that's scripted, controlled, that is self-promoting, that is wanting all the money, the beautiful wife, whatever, whatever, and take that away. See what's there. Know that you really don't need any of that, and be in your true power, your true self, your true humble opinion of not only others but yourself, and be able to forgive that egoic controlling time when you were asleep. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to the having gratitude for your higher self, and also being being in a place of thankfulness that you were even able to awake when so
Oh yeah,
many either cannot, will not, or won't not, you know?
totally agree. And I think that now that I'm awakening, now what? When we've accomplished these things that we're talking about, um, I think we do send a shock wave or a ripple effect
Completely, completely.
across our other uh, not not versions of the self, but what was it we
I was saying variance, like
variants.
in
I
different
like
realms
that.
and different
Um,
densities. We're not alone here. That's
no,
what they want us. That's a psyop, in my
yeah,
opinion. They want me to think that I'm all alone, that I'm all there is,
mm,
but that's impossible. So it's to me, it's silly. So I equate that to like when we get those downloads in the morning or these dreamtime things kind of happen. It's a knowing that you wake up with or that comes in and well, where did that come from?
mm,
That probably came because let's say there's 10 of me, well then everybody's doing their own work, everybody's doing their own awakening, their own little journeys, and when somebody learns something over here, like that whole quantum theory about is it quantum
awareness.
well
Hmm.
it's one part over here, no matter how far the distance is in between the second part, they both get the same thing. So whatever happens to A happens to B. I'm not talking in like I broke my arm kind of thing, but I'm talking about in a knowing, in an awareness, in a going back to wholeness
I
frame.
yeah, I think it ties into uh, that spirit because we're still
Yeah.
connected by our own higher spirit with the other variants.
Mm-hmm.
And how I look at the variants is that at some level we were the pure whole light comprised of all the different colors and variations and wavelengths, whatever we want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
and then hitting the prism or the prison of the system, it was splattered out. And then each of those then hit another prism and prison, and it was broken apart again. And so on those, each of those could correspond to a different density or different layer, dragon's layer
Mm-hmm.
of manipulation and density, as in it's all everything here is made of matter. It's either dense matter or not so dense matter, which gets more into spirit and those types of things. But this is the material world. It's made of a different type of matter, which is mother. So it's another mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's this is the dark energy mother, which in essence would be Gaia. If we break it down and get all the way back to it, and then that came from directly from chaos,
Yes.
and so it's a little different line of thinking than what is purported out there, today. But now that I'm awakening, now what I think is the most important thing is the purification of those things as they come up to us, recognizing the patterns and then making a choice to either continue or opt out. Uh, even on a computer program, you've got those options. You can
Mm-hmm.
close it, you can make it smaller and where it's still there, but it's, you're not looking at it, or you can continue on. And so it's kind of once we see the machine think here, we start applying some of those principles. I think we get all different uh, viewpoint on it, and we can see that that's not who we really are at all, and that's all their chains
Mm-hmm.
of manipulation and ties and bonds to this place. So I think that we don't need to delete self. I think we need to uh, separate self, and then I think that on the higher spiritual level, those things that are going to resonate with our other variants, like in the light prism
Mm-hmm.
kind of thinking, I think those signals go out. And I think that type of awareness will begin to awaken the others, and then those who choose to be ready to go home uh, will all start to resonate that frequency. I think as we all resonate that, or even if it's just part of us, it might only be two or three of a gazillion, and maybe the other gazillion wants to stay here, but three still wants to go home. We're still a whole holiness in that wants to leave these realms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that connective spirit is what sends out the call to awaken of these other variants
Mm-hmm.
uh, of ourself, and we must, once we're aware of this, we must call those things in. It's not so much calling our biological families in, although you can, because in some cases that is part of those soul shards.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if there's any hope in them awakening, it would be on that spiritual level and not pounding them in the head and begging and pleading, oh, please wake up. I see these things and your world's not real and whatever. Dude, I can walk out here and I can tell you in this realm, this is just as real as it's going to get. I can walk into another realm and that's just as real as it's going to get. Everything is commensurate with the level that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that it's not real, it's very real to the ones in it, but we're not of it. The ones in it and of it, that they don't know anything else.
They can't see that far.
But we can, because this is not our origin. This is an encapsulation. And so realizing these things uh, in that, standing in the power, realizing that our battle's not in the flesh and go out and attack other people or belittle them or make fun of them because they're this way or that way, or they want to do these different changes in their bodies and things like that. Who cares? Not my monkey, not my circus. I don't care. Knock yourself out
Yeah.
is my
Have fun chasing.
response. I think you should. Yeah, go right ahead. You want to swap out those things? Hey, go for it. Go for it. Don't impose that on me. I don't want to do
The
it,
impositions.
so don't do it. And then if they want to impose, then somehow we remove ourselves from the situation. Move.
Mm-hmm.
We can still pick up and move,
That's what I did.
for now. Exactly. And I've done that before as well.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's necessary to get out of the wasp nest, that wants to just keep me,
Yeah. Yeah. It's all your fault. Gaslighting
piercing.
the whole
Yeah.
way. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's our presentation today on this subject. Let us know your feedback in the comments, and we look forward to you next time.